Hi everybody and happy Valentine's Day. Today I thought I would just do a quick collage. What I have here are three different um, jelly printed papers. So I'm just choosing three different muted ones. I have several of them with some darker tones, and I want something with more neutral because this will be my background. And I'm not going to use all three. I'm just going to choose one of these. Just compare the backgrounds and see which will work best for my page. So I've got this one, which is I think this is Celadon, this color, and maybe some burnt umber. There's a little bit of pink here. As you can see, there's like lots of texture, and there's actually some shimmery color right here. We've got some bubble wrap texture in here, little oval stencils. Same with this. You can see some little bubble wrap there. There's some acrylic ink spots here. Nice pink tone, and then a very light one with some texture here, and some blue and yellow. And these were printed on just some old placemats, paper placemats. And then this one I think was cardstock. So what I'm going to do, I have this piece of paper bag that I got from Aldi. What I did was just wet it down, run it under some warm water, wrinkle it up, probably wadded it, opened it back up, wadded it again, opened it back up, did that several times, probably about 10 times until it got pretty flexible and kind of cloth-like. And then I just prepped one side with some white gesso, so the other side is going to be, we're not going to see that anyway, so I'm not worried about that. So what I wanted to do, when I was in grade school, I like to make, you know how you make hearts by just folding a piece of paper in half and just cutting one side. I would do a little variation of that, and I'm going to put the heart on one of these pages. So I need to figure out what size I want this to be. But what I'm going to do is, let's fold it this way so I know that so my heart's within the gesso. So we'll fold it in half, and I'm going to tear this instead of cut it. And I'm not going to tear the heart out all the way. So I'm going to start from the bottom of the heart. So let's say this is the point, and then we'll go around with the curve. So I'm just going to tear it. Maybe. Oh my goodness, this is thick. It's pretty thick. So this is not going to be a perfect heart. So that's the bottom. And then we'll go around, get close to the top. Let's get that little dip at the top. Now I'm not going to tear this completely. I'm going to leave a little bit so that it's still attached, like that. And then I'm going to tear out another heart shape within this heart shape. So we'll just follow that line about I don't know, I've got a thumb's width here, so let's do, I may have to get this started with scissors. As you tell, this is the first time I've done this with this thick of paper. Actually, I normally use scissors, but I like the torn piece and the frayed look. Let me get this started with this real quick. Okay. So starting from the bottom of the heart, so I'm just tearing a smaller heart within the bigger heart that we just did. And again, I'm not going to tear that completely apart. I'm going to stop about right there. So we've got still attached. And let's open it up and see what it looks like so far. Okay. So this is what we have so far. And I want to have space in between the outside heart and the inside heart. So what I'm going to do is tear it a little bit more. So I will tear this inside heart. Let's see, should I do 3 layers? I'll just do 2. We'll just do the 2. So I'm going to tear this a little bit smaller. And I'm going to have to start it out again with my scissors. I hear my dog in the living room getting on that chair. Getting hair all over my chair. So sneaky. So since I'm making this center heart a little bit smaller, because we want a gap in between this first set here, this first big heart and this smaller heart, I'm actually going to tear this off So I'm tearing this and getting rid of that. So now let's see what we have. Okay. So now, as you can see, we have a little bit of a space in between. And I think I may just do 3 layers because I think I'll like that. Let's do a smaller heart inside this one. And I may go ahead and tear that out completely. So instead of stopping at the fold, like right before we get to the end of the fold, the center fold, we'll just tear that completely out. Let's see. And let's see what we have. And there you have it. Now I want a space in between the outside of this and this here. So I want to make sorry for the phone, guys. So let me just make this a little bit smaller. So I'm just tearing more off of this outside heart shape. And I may have to cut that a little bit. And let's open it up and see what we have. And there we have a little bit of a space there. And I think I'm going to help this out a little bit more because there's not much of a dip for the heart shape here. So let's see if I could just cut a little bit more just to make it look more like a heart shape at the very top. And there's that. So now, let's see what size I want this. I think I'll just start tearing. Let's start tearing that right here. This paint's still a little bit wet. I think I want to tear a little bit more. Let's tear some off the bottom. You got to be kind of careful that you don't rip your heart in the middle. Okay. And then let's tear some of the sides. We're not being perfect with this. We're adding texture and interest in a basic. You get the idea that there's a heart shape right here, different layers. And this is our focal point of the background. So this is what we have so far. Let's see. And I think I'll tear a little bit more off the top. And I think I want it a little skinnier. So let's see. I'm going to take just a little bit more. I want this to be more of a rectangular shape than a square. So that we have more of the background showing through. I practiced this tearing technique on a piece of book page, but it tore a lot easier than this. But it's not too bad. Alright, so we don't have a perfect rectangle. It's a little lopsided, and actually like that just gives it some interest. So I'm going to now that I think we need more of a space here at the bottom, because this piece right here is sticking out. Let's see if we can tear some more of that out. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe we just leave it. Or just kind of tear that point off a little bit there. Just get rid of that point. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to distress the edges, and you can see that sorry, this thing doesn't focus too well. There, you can see the brown from the torn. You see that from the torn paper there, but I'm going to take some of this ink here, the sepia, and I'm going to take my makeup wedge and just go around the edges to distress the edges and some of the inside of this. Because I did that with my most recent upload my journal with me, my first one that I've done, and really like that look, so I wanted to repeat it again. Couldn't wait to try this technique again. And I will finish this up. I won't put you through watching this entire process of edging all this, so I will be back when I get all this done, and then we will pick out, or I will pick out, a background to put this on. So I will be right back. Okay, so now I have everything all distressed and found out that my finger works quite a bit better than that makeup sponge, because the makeup sponge leaves little square, well, you know how it's like really straight, and then it sometimes would leave straight marks on my, I don't know if you can see that well, but I didn't like that, so I ended up using my fingers. So that's what happens, live and learn. And then I broke down and I did take my scissors and I did go back over it and trim around the inside of the heart again, and just added a little bit more of a dip here to this one, because you know the bottom of these were like nice and like straight, and then the tops were all fuzzy and torn, and it just didn't look right. So I did fix that. So other than that, you didn't miss much. Oh, and found out that since this is so light, that I went through my stack of jelly printed papers again, and kind of put it over top of several different ones, and decided to go with this one because it looks better with a darker background, and this has a nice sepia background blue, and there's a little bit, if you can see that, there's a little bit of the block stamp that I have across here in a darker blue. So it's just got a lot of nice texture in there. I wish you guys could see this in person because it looks much better in person than on camera. But there's so much detail, and it looks so aged and old, and I like that. There's also, I think this was like, oh, what is that, netting for onion, onion bag or something. So if you, I don't know if you can see, there's texture in there from the netting from an onion bag. But putting this over top of this, I think, works really well. See, now you can see with that, without all that glare, you can see all that texture of the paper, the wrinkled paper, and then how that stands out much better and then blends quite well with the background. And then what I can do is take my paper cutter and just trim around this. But also, I of course need a little sentiment here. I can't just leave it like that. I want to put something else to balance it out at the bottom. So what I did was just take, oh, I was playing around, and this one ended up being tore it out, tore some papers out, and just put the word forever. And I just took this Liquitex ink and just wrote the word forever with the dropper. So it's not like really clear what the word says, but I like that because it gives it interest, I think, because this whole thing is all distressed and old, and it's not perfect, and this is what I'm going for. So then the word forever is here, but I also did, just to define it a little bit better, I did take a colored pencil in a color that's similar to the background, this greenish or aqua color, and did go in and kind of define the word forever inside the acrylic. And then I will put this down here. So we are about done with this. So this was a nice quick project. So all I'm going to do is just glue this down with some Mod Podge, and use this big brush. I have this big, I think this is like a 2-inch flat brush. So this is just a cheap brush. I'm not sure where I got this, but just a cheap, nice synthetic flat brush that I use for gluing, or gessoing if you want to gesso quickly. This works great. So we'll just put the Mod Podge on the back. Sorry if I'm blocking your way. I'm sure this is exciting that you want to see me like glue this entire thing. But we're just about done. So all I've got to do is just glue these onto the background. And I promise you that we will go through and I'll explain to you, if you guys don't know what jelly printing is, I will have a video on that at some point soon. So if you haven't subscribed already, please like, share, and subscribe, because like I promise, I try to get at least 1 to 2 new videos a week, even if it's not like doing any kind of artwork or teaching any kind of technique. I would at least, you know, I can't help myself. I go to the thrift stores like probably at least once a week, and I plan on going to Hobby Lobby again on Friday because I don't have a Hobby Lobby like close by, but I've been seeing all these videos of these people like getting these 75% off stuff from Hobby Lobby, and I really want to find these distress inks. I've seen someone haul Tim Holtz distress inks. I don't have any of those. Have been wanting to try those out, and I hope I find it. And if I do, you know, I will share that with you guys. So, let's see. Let's try to straighten this out a little bit before I press it down. So I like it right there. I'll straighten the middle out a little bit, and then I'll just flatten it out. And I like the feel of this paper too. Once this gets glued down, and then I put Mod Podge over the top of it, and you really don't have to put Mod Podge over the top. I may not do that. It just feels really neat once you glue it down, you touch it, it's all this texture. And that's the beauty of multimedia, is just, you know, all your senses, your sight, and well, not all of your senses, you know, there's not smell, but, you know, you use more of your senses besides just sight. You can touch it. I really am liking this paper bag technique thing, so. And then I will just hopefully not glue that to my parchment paper. I'll glue the back of the sentiment here. Oh, and I did take this and kind of just run this across this ink pad just to give it a little bit of a distressed look as well, and wadded it up a little bit just to get it to match this here. And I think that looks pretty balanced if I put it right there. And that is enough. And I think I'm going to call that good. And I hope that you guys try this out, even if you don't use this paper bag technique. I mean, you can use book pages if you'd like. I just like this because this is so thick. And I love this texture, but I'm sure that there's other things you could use, because this is hard to tear. So once you get the gesso on and you fold it in half, it's kind of hard to deal with. But there it is, and like I said, I can later just cut around this, because I think my jelly plate's like it's an 8x10, and this sheet's bigger than an 8x10. But there it is, and there, try to get the glare off of it so that you can see that a little better, because it's not as white as it looks in person. It's actually, the whole thing has a little bit of that sepia all over, and it's not so stark white. But there that is, and I like that. So I appreciate oh my gosh, not a good day. I appreciate, again, you guys watching, and I hope that you guys take something out of this and learn, and just when you get time, just try this and see what you think. And let me know, how it turns out. And again, just subscribe if you want to see more. I can't wait to do more of these jelly prints because you can just do, create backgrounds for all different kinds of techniques. So I thank you again for watching, and hopefully I'll be back again soon, maybe Friday or Saturday, with a Hobby Lobby clearance haul. Maybe I'll get lucky and find some ink. So thank you so much. Bye.